Alright, what's up guys? So this is the final. So this is actually what I came up with. He is turned into like this alien with this kind of bubble helmet. It's got some liquid inside, two little other bubbles up there. Got some canisters and things in the back. So, I always have to kind of go crazy with these characters. This is what he looks like. So let's see how this translates into Blender. So I'm going to export him into Blender. So the only things I need to do first are go through and change, like, see, this is like refraction. If you go here, you see this is a refraction. I don't necessarily want it to be a refraction when I export it. You know what, let's export it and just see what it looks like. So I'll export it and see what it looks like, but first I'm going to select everything, and then I'm going to go to the gizmo settings and I'm going to bake it. Okay, so now everything is baked, so it should be, I shouldn't run any problems in the Blender. I always just bake everything. So let's see what it looks like. So let's export. I'll press the little folder. I'm going to export GLTF. Let's see, selected. So I don't really need the lights and things like that. So selected, there's 24. So I'm going to export this to my computer. It's quite big actually. So we'll send that. Okay, so now we're into the Mac computer, and I have my cross lights. So I'm going to upload this to my Patreon. So if anyone wants it from Patreon, I'll probably put it on my Gumroad as well. But it's just a regular backdrop, and I've been using it a lot. It's pretty good. I'm actually going to replace this because the topology is not great. My poor little MacBook Pro M1 struggles sometimes. Okay, so now I'm going to go to File, Import, GLTF. Even though it was a GLB, bring it in as a GLTF. That's just, another one of those confusing things about 3D. So we'll go to Download. We have Fishboy A. So we'll bring in Fishboy A and just see what it looks like. Okay, Fishboy A. And actually, the transparency actually looks pretty good. So I'm just going to move the whole thing up. I'm going to go ahead and press 0. So I already have like a camera kind of dialed in to this thing, and it actually looks pretty good. So I'm going to press S and make it bigger. Something like that. Okay, so now when I'm up here, I pretty much have all these like lights and stuff already in, but I think it'll be helpful. I can still walk you through how I use the lights. Like, you can see how the lights are set up. I think that'll be useful. Okay, so I have a round turntable here, which I'm just gonna hide for now because I made this other turntable. So let's zoom in and just make sure I don't have some stupid crease. So I'm just going to shade smooth. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so now we have body. All these, spin disc is actually what I want. That's the turntable. That's what I named his little turntable thingy. So let's hit 1 so we can look at it straight on, and I just want the bottom to be right on the ground. Or do I want to... You know what I'm going to do? I want to make like a better pedestal. So I'm going to raise him up a little bit, and I'll take the disc and I'll hit Shift D, and let's see. So Y is not the right line. Z is what we need. So we'll move it down. Hit return, and now I'm going to hit S to resize it, and I'm going to resize it down almost like it's a little tiny like mushroom or something. But this is what he's going to be spinning on, so I think that looks pretty good. So let's switch cameras. So here I have some cameras that I set up. Let's see, let's zoom out. And we just want a front camera. So let's do, what is this camera doing? So I'll right click, or actually I'm using 2 fingers and clicking with 2 fingers, but I think that's equivalent of a right click. Well, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty cool, actually. I like it. You know, it's a shame that the size of this one isn't, this is not going to be a clean cut tutorial. I have to work on that. But I can't, like, I kind of have to do my thing though. That's the hard part. Let's go back to this camera. Set active camera. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the front camera. I know this is getting confusing now. I want to set my cameras so I can look at any of them. Blender does this from time to time. I'm going to go to view and then frame all. Usually that helps. So sometimes everything will just disappear. And it's really frustrating when you don't know how to get everything back. But it happens quite often. So I'm going to set this as active camera again. Looks good. And then I'm going to grab everything, so the body all the way down to the tubes. I'm going to hit S. Oh, I have that other thing too, don't I? Oh, I do have spin disc 1. Just wanted to make sure I had both of them. I'm going to make this bigger. I'm talking something like that, and then I'll move it up. Let's zoom in here and hit 1. Make sure this is on the ground, on the floor. Everybody walk that dinosaur. Okay, that looks good. Let's look at the lights. You know what? Maybe actually the other size is actually better. Because looking at the lights, I think that works better actually. So being that works better, I'm going to change this camera. So instead, I'm going to go to the camera, and you know what I'll do? I'll do a second video once I start lighting. Because I want to make a standalone video just on lighting in Blender. I'm going to switch my iPad and stuff off. Because I want to try to do one specifically to lighting, and I'm just going to turn my lights off, and I'm just going to show what lights I'm using. So let's stick with this camera for now. Camera settings, and I need to zoom in. So we're just going to slide this one of these ways, maybe something like that. And then I'll move it down, kind of with the edge of the frame, edge of the frame. That looks good. Uh-oh. Oh no, everything looks good. I think what I want to do is turn off all the lights, and I'm going to get rid of these lights, and we're just going to start from scratch. Okay, so I turned off all these lights. You can see in Blender you can turn the lights off, but they would still render. That's why these little cameras still on. But anyway, so this is like pretty much the same as if you were in Nomad and you were turning off the lights. But essentially, I like to start from a fairly dark scene. Like I have my lights set, but if I'm going to do lights, like I want to actually see what the lights are doing. So I'm going to go to this world here, and I have background, I have the color here. So if I was to tap on this color and put it to 0, you can't see anything. Which, you know, sometimes let's just start there. That's a great place to start. It's just darkness. The only thing we see is this little 44. Actually, where is that? So that was the additive and always unlit. So additive and only unlit make things glow in Blender. So button 44 and just button. I think this is the the little additive. So I'm actually going to go in here and just get rid of this. And then I'll add 44. I'll change the color to a blue, and then I'll go down to emission, So emission, and we'll change that to blue as well. And then we'll turn the strength up, and that'll make that glow. So we'll just leave that there for now. Okay, so we have our camera, we have our backdrop. Okay, so back wall. So this is my back wall light. So this is an area light. So this is this light here. So it's an area light. I have it in the background, just pointing down. You see this line, that's where the light is going. So that's what that light looks like. And you can go into the light settings. You can see here, you can change. I can change the color of it if I wanted to, something like that. That actually looks really cool. I'm being honest, that looks awesome. But that's the back wall. I have a lot of, I really like area lights. I think they look really great. So here's a floodlight from the left side. I'll zoom out a little bit. So this is a floodlight from, actually I'll zoom in because I want to make sure that you guys can see the screen okay. So let me get rid of this stuff a little bit. Okay, so here's another area light. Here's the character, here's the area light. It's sort of pointed from this side, and you see it gives this nice glow here, which looks nice. So that looks really cool as well. So I have a floodlight on the left. Here's the settings. You can check those out if you want. So let's turn that off and turn this one on. This is very similar, but obviously it's a different color and it's from the other side. So if I wanted to have both of them on, you have that kind of cool look. And I think that looks awesome. And here's that with the backlight on. So you can have some really cool effects with these lights. I'm going to turn those off. Glow back is just like a bright light in the back. I think that's here. So this is a point light. So a point light is sort of like it just kind of comes out from the center and just makes everything glow. So that's the point light. I have it up really bright also. So we'll turn that off. I have another light in the front. So this is just like it's like a glowing light that I have here. Sometimes I use that for certain things if my character is a little bit too dark. Okay, so glow top down. So this is another point light that I usually put like kind of like right in the front or like right in the top. Something like that. I'll put this to like 100. You can see it a little bit more. But again, this comes out from everywhere. You can adjust the radius, of course. Okay, key left. So that is, sometimes I switch this out, this light with a rectangle. You can change the shape, but again, this is an area light. Looks nice. I'm going to tilt it a little bit more. Maybe make it a little bit wider, but it looks good. So this is an area light coming. Usually I have this one a little bit more blue as well. Put a little bit more blue into that. Here's the key right light. So this is another key light that I usually have from on the right side. I'm actually going to change this to a rectangle as well. And this is usually the main light that I light the character with. So I'm looking at this now, and it's in a decent spot, but firstly it feels like it's too close. Well, I'm going to change the angle of it a little bit, like that. It feels like it's a bit too close, so I'm going to pull it straight back. Maybe up a little bit. And also I want to see what it looks like if the light is more in front of him. So something like that, I think. It's kind of cool. So that looks good. So the first thing I'm noticing is I don't really see the reflections on this glass. So this is supposed to be glass, but it doesn't really seem like it's acting the way that glass should act. So that's the one problem. But as we're moving lighting, I'm going to deal with the I'm going to deal with the materials later. Okay, so that's the key. So we can put both of these on. That's what that looks like. So let's turn these off and keep going. I don't know what the... Oh, this is like underneath. This is if I don't have a backdrop. This light will play. So this is a rim light. So this is the same as Nomad. It's just... This light here is a spotlight. So obviously it's just like a normal spotlight or a flashlight. And I like this because I like having these really bright rim and edge lighting. So it makes it look really dynamic. I'm going to move it up some. And you can also adjust like how much it hits the character and things like that. But that looks really nice. It's really beautiful. I also have one on the other side. Let's see how it looks. Might have to move this up as well. Just so it's not so much on the floor. Ideally, I actually don't want them on the floor at all, but I don't know if that's a possibility. I could move it up a bit more and then angle it up a bit more. And I could do the same with the other side. So I'll take this light and move it up. And then I'm going to angle it up. So it's not so much on the floor. Little on the floor is okay, but mostly I want it on the character. So that looks good. So I'm going to turn one of them off. I'm going to turn this one off. One thing I like to do is if I have the rim light on that side, then on the other side is where I'll add the key light. So let's go with key. Is it key right? Yeah, we'll go with key right for now. Okay, this is just like a light for like working. This is really bright light. And then there's a top-down light, which is, if I turn these off, this is supposed to be like, you know, that light that's just like shining down in the front, kind of like a creepy light. So something like this. But again, I have this big like bubble on the head, so that sort of is making things a little difficult as well. So I think we liked that edge. I really like the back wall though, man. That looks so pretty. I like that. So let's do key right again, but let's turn this light down. It looks like it's too bright. So I'm going to, instead of 150, I'm going to do 75. So we'll make that a little darker. Okay, so even though I'm doing lighting, there's so many things that affect the lighting. So of course we talked about the world. If I move this up, you see everything is a bit lighter. So that's one thing to note, because like right now it's, or even if I bring it up a little bit and then change the shadow to like a bluish color, is probably a little bit better, because usually shadows have some sort of color to them. So that's probably a little bit better, because completely black sometimes can look a bit strange. Let's see how this looks without the back wall. Yeah, there's a little color in there. There's a little color now. Also, I might want to take this light and make it a little warm. So I'm going to bring it a little bit towards the yellow. Get a little bit of that warmness. And I might take the key left. So this is the left, this is the blue light. And this is already a little bit blue. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic as well. I don't know how much I want it on the floor. So I might, so I might rotate it back. And then maybe, so this is the size of it, and you can kind of change it like that. You can move it up more, just to try to get some of it off the floor. Although I don't really mind it too much. Might even make it like really wide. Okay, so that looks pretty interesting, I think. Okay, so the lighting looks pretty good, but again, I have issues with this thing. So let me save this. I'm gonna save as Fishboy, Fishboy 1. So I'm gonna save that. That's why my Blender file is so folder is so huge, because these take up a lot of space. So now when I go in here, I just need to figure out this helmet. This bubble A. So I really need to work on bubble A. So firstly, the one thing I didn't do yet is when you zoom in, all these like things have smooth shading is not on, and I can tell. So I'm gonna go body. I'm gonna select everything, right click, and then shade smooth. So that looks a lot better. So now all these things are nice and smooth. So back to the bubble head. Let's go to the materials tab down here. Principled BSDF. So we want to make this into glass. There's a few ways we can do that. We could do it with transmission. Oh no, I guess it's already clear, so that doesn't help. Okay, so I'm on the helmet. In order to get some reflections, because there's no reflections now, the IOR, index of refraction, I think it's refraction. Is refraction or reflection? Anyway, it's at 1.0, and let's move this up to 2. Let's see what 3 does. That looks good, I think. Maybe it's 1.2. I want to be able to see through it still. But that looks pretty good. That looks good. I kind of like it clear, but I also kind of like it blue. Like these. That like aqua blue is really nice. So let's get it the right color, which is around there. Feels right. And let's take some saturation out of it, just to get it to match. I think that looks nice. Okay, that looks good. So let's go to the liquid inside. So bubble liquid. I'm gonna raise this. Oh, bubble liquid. So let's see. Roughness, alpha. It's a little dark. It'd be nice if I could figure out how to make it not so dark. What happens if I turn the roughness down? Sometimes it's a little hard to see even like what's happening. So IOR transmission. So maybe I can turn the transmission of it down. Oh no, that just makes it less see-through. So that's not actually what I need. But you can adjust the opacity. I just have to remember where. Oh, the alpha. The alpha, I can probably. Oh, it's still, even with the alpha all the way down, it's still just as dark. Interesting. I really thought that was going to be it. I really did, but I was wrong. I don't know what this does. Any of this. Oh, that's nice. Makes it a little bit brighter. Do I want to change the color? Ooh, that looks nice. It looks like water. That looks like liquid. I don't know why I'm speaking like this. I apologize. Viewport display roughness. That looks good. Backface. Let me save. Even though Blender has a pretty good auto save feature, I still like to save. So backface culling. I'm actually not sure what that means. And I can't tell what the difference is if I have that on. Excuse me. But I mean, honestly, it looks good, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Okay, so for now, I'm going to hide the bubbles. And I'm just going to adjust the material of the character. Oh. I guess we'll leave him like that. So the eyes, how do we want the eyes? I actually don't know. But we'll leave them like this. So this is the skin, so we'll do roughness. And do I want to do an ambient occlusion on the skin? That's the question. Ambient occlusion is the only like node I like. So Shift A, ambient occlusion, boom. Now Shift A is add. It just like you can add something. Color ramp. So I know those two. Add diffuse and add mix shader. Okay, so first thing I do is I switch these two out because I always have to do that at a later point. Color to factor, and then I'm just going to highlight these and Command C to save. So now I'm going to put the mix shader in between these two. You see there's a weird color change. I'm going to bring the color to the factor, and now there's some ambient occlusion, so I'm going to adjust it here. You can kind of see how it gets darker. So that's nice. I like that, but it's black, which isn't really good. So I'm going to bring this diffuse over and put it into that bottom part. And then this diffuse, I'll change the color of this. I'll grab this color. Maybe make it a little lighter, maybe a little more blue. So now the shadows have, maybe I'll make it a little darker. So now the shadows have a dark, nice dark rich blue. Good. All right, let's take these little pieces, the little eye dots. Oh, another thing I wanted to do to the skin is subsurface scatter. I get really excited about subsurface scatter. So subsurface, I'm going to put the weight up. Scale, put that up. And I probably want to change some of these colors. Doesn't really need to be too red. So I'm going to put that down. Not too green either. Yeah, that one a little more blue. A little more blue, cool blue, purple. Looks good. So let's take these, and I wanted to mess with the emission. So I'll just use a color and then kind of up the emission a little bit. And I think I want to, I'm going to click off so we can kind of see. I like that. I feel like I should make, okay, let's take this and let's go to the, let's name this blue glow. Okay, I like that. So let's take the 44 and let's make that blue glow as well. Let's take this button and just delete it. I don't need that extra one. I just want the glow one. The reason I had that before was because you need to clone it in Nomad to make it glow. So that's the skin. The suit, as you can see, the metalness didn't really come over. Let me wait for this to kind of dial in for a second. So the metalness didn't really come over, but that's okay. So let's see if there's a, I could just put the metalness up. This is going to be silver suit. I could put the metallic up. And actually that looks decent. Index of refraction. Roughness. Wait, what did I mess up here? Looks different. Okay, we can adjust the roughness if we want it to be a little bit more shiny. But I think I like the roughness before. We can make it more metallic. I feel like that feels more right. But sometimes, you know what? Sometimes maybe less is more. I don't mind that. I don't mind it. Maybe all these are like glowing. That would be really pretty, actually. So I do like the color combination of this, 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 and this. So I'm gonna Command J and join them together. And this is gonna be boots details. So now that those are all together, if I want to, let's just delete. So you have to go into this materials and delete all the individual colors. Oh, I don't know if I want to do that actually. I guess I should just commit to it now. I should just commit to it. Boots details. Okay, we've committed. So I'm going to turn the metallic up a little bit. You know, I might even want to do a little bit of an emission. Let's see what it looks like. It's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cool. I do like it, not gonna lie, but for now we'll put the strength to 0 for now, because otherwise it's just a little too crazy. Okay, so let's turn. He has some fins. Oh, I forgot all about all this stuff back here. Okay, so the fins, I think I want to do the transmission like so. I don't want them to be so, I want them to be a little more shiny, I think. Index of refraction. I don't want like a huge, you know, it's actually hard to tell what the best setting is for what I want. But I think I want a little more roughness in the fins. I kind of want them to just look like jelly. But I find that it's a little hard for me to kind of figure out how to get it to look jelly-like the way that I want it to look. It's not bad. Subsurface. These can have a lot of subsurface, actually. And we'll turn this down a little bit. I think we turned this one up a little bit. Okay. So then we have all this back here. This, I probably just need to put up the metalness, make it just like a canister. Oh wait, hold on. That's the wrong one. So I'm going to undo, I want this to be glass. Canister cover. So this is supposed to be glass. So take the roughness down, and then the IOR I need to adjust so we can get some reflections. Okay, that's pretty good, but I'm going to bring it down. I hear more fireworks. Index of refraction, I want to bring it down a little bit more. Maybe if I add a little metalness to it. Okay, so that's pretty good. So canister, backpack, I think is fine. Canisters, so this is the one where I want them to be a little bit more shiny and a little bit more metallic. Okay. I think that looks okay. It's a bit hard to tell. Okay, so these I'm just going to give a little bit of metallic to. Oh, this is all of those things. I'm going to put some roughness up, and I think I might just leave it like that, to be honest. I don't really need anything crazy for this. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to hit 0 again. Go back and figure out if there's anything else I want to change. Now that he has these lights, I kind of wish it was darker, but I can do a light version and a dark version. These are they're looking a little too, I like the metalness, but maybe more metal? No, definitely don't like that. I think I just don't want any metalness. And maybe I want the color to be a little bit brighter. So my nose is so itchy right now. So I'm going to go to the color, and I'm just going to do RGB. It's going to reset it in a sense. I'm going to grab this, grab the eyedropper, and get the color of the soul. The color of the soul. Okay, and I just want to up the saturation, I think. Put the roughness up a little bit. Okay, so these are Boots details. I don't want these to be the same, so I'm going to up the roughness a little bit. And for the color, I think I am going to go RGB. I'll grab this. Okay, I like that the bottoms are just a little bit darker. I do like that. And also for these, I'm going to do some subsurface, so it kind of feels like, you know, like rubber, where you can sort of see through just a little bit. Okay, I like it. Can't really see it in his mouth. Oh, I didn't put any teeth or anything. feel like I wanted to give him teeth or a tongue, and I gave him neither. That's okay. His face is in. Let's put the bubbles back on and see what he looks like. Oh no. Somewhere along the lines, I messed up. And you can no longer see his face. So let's see what the issue is. So I'm wondering if it could be subsurface. Nope, doesn't seem like it's that. But it could be something to do with the ambient occlusion. Let's see what happens if I take all of these and just X them. Okay, so it is something to do with that. Inside, only local. Okay, so I don't know what only local does, but it seemed to do the trick. I think that looks pretty cool. I like it. I like all these reflections. I like all those reflections. I like it. Let's go to the bottom, and what do we want to do with this thing? I think I want wood. Usually I match these up, so I'm going to select them both and do Command J. I did do there isn't some nice woods. I might have already used them, so I always use Blender Kit. Blender Kit is great. So let's go here and let's do wood. Oh, I don't really see any good ones. Stylized wood planks. Okay, so let's look for, I'm going to pull this out. We'll go to Blender Kit, Materials, and we'll do wood. Yeah, one of these is really cool. I think this one is really cool. That's pretty awesome. I really like that. I'm not always sure. But for him, I feel like it might be like glass or something. But anyway, as you can see, there's a ton of like really cool things, and I could sit here and like go through these for a long time. Okay, so I'm back. Obviously, I switched to a tile, which it looks good, but I can see that it's not perfect. Like the tile, let's see if I can switch to Eevee. So yeah, you can see that the tile isn't perfect. All right, even though I like the other one, I decided to switch it because I couldn't get over the fact that it's just, the tiles just weren't right. So I had to switch it. I'm probably just gonna use something normal. And honestly, that's fine because I don't want the focus to be taken off of him. So I really don't want to do a really crazy floor, but it just gets really fun just like flipping through these. That's the real issue. It's just fun finding different things. Although that one was really beautiful, but the tiles just didn't really match up. Yeah. Let's see, paper paving. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it with this. I think that looks pretty interesting. Okay, so now I think it looks pretty good. Usually I go back and I just check my lights. I make sure that if I have an eyeball on that the camera's on and vice versa. Another thing that I do is I'll just go and check the world and make sure that everything looks how I want it to look. If I was to turn this off, I can't even see a difference. I can't see much of a difference, but that's okay. So we'll leave that on. Oh, maybe I should make this. Let's see what it looks like if this is at 1. Oh, I don't really see much difference. Now I can see a difference. Okay. All right, all right. Chill out. Also, I checked my lights again. See what it looks like with this off. Definitely like it better with that on. And I want to go into the camera and I want to make sure, is the camera we're using? So I want to make sure we have camera settings. So depth of field is on. So we need to find the right depth of field. A good way to do it is let's take the bubble A and we'll hide that. Let's hide the liquid. Oh, you can't see the things. Ooh, I have to figure that out. I forgot all about those. So if I zoom in, it's hard to tell. Let me go to EV. It's hard to tell if it's actually in focus. It looks like it is in focus. If I go to cycles, still looks like it's pretty much in focus. If I'm being honest. Yeah, that's pretty focused. That's pretty dialed in. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Let's add the bubble liquid, bubble A. So why isn't the glow showing? So the glow is actually black in there. So eye dots. So here's the eye dots. What if we take this nonsense off? Since it didn't work anyway. Oh, now I can see them. Now I can see them. I can see the emission. So what if I make it brighter? Okay, it looks nice. Looks nice. Let's make this a little bluer. That way those things look, that way the 44 and those look, that looks nice. That looks great. So I'm going to save this. And I'm probably going to do a test print of this. So I'm going to do a test print. Everything looks good. All the lights that are supposed to be on look like they're on. Everything is on that should be here. So we saved it. So now it's time to do a render. So let's check the render settings real quick. 200 should be fine. Let's go ahead and render this and we'll see what we have. I might go to bed and resume in the morning because with like glass and a lot of things, sometimes it takes a long time to render. So we'll see. But also it's good that it's good for me to at least see like the skin, because like the skin might be a little too shiny or too much subsurface. There might be too much subsurface in the skin, but it looks good. I'll be back. I'll show you what it looks like.